All right, here we go. Hey guys, how's everybody doing today?
Hello.
Wonderful. How are we doing?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good. I was saying this before, but Morgan, I really like your setup. Yours, I feel like is, I don't know why, because it's the background. I know I need to get a better background. I've
This
had
is actually just a white wall painted. So yeah, it's much simpler than it may look. Yeah.
yeah, I should really angle it, but I've got my like little bits and bobs that make my room a mess that I should probably buy one of the formal Amazon ones, but I always intend to. I even got approval to do it. I just haven't done it
It gives
eventually.
gives personality. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's
For
character.
Andy, yeah, Andy out there who hates my background. It's personality, Andy. Okay, so let's get started. So, welcome everyone to the Keys to AWS Optimization, the show where we share stories, concepts, and solutions to help you unlock your spend at AWS. My name is Stephanie Gooch, and I am a commercial architect at AWS, and I focus on telco customers in EMEA. Biddle?
Yeah, hey everybody, Michael Biddle. I'm a principal architect here focusing on cost optimization. I support our public sector industry and known Steph for a few years, been on a few teams with her, and we're always excited to chat with you guys. But we are joined here by our guest, Morgan. Morgan, why don't you introduce
Hello.
yourself a little bit?
Yeah, so my name is Morgan Willis. I'm a principal cloud technologist here at AWS, and I work in AWS training and certification. So, what that means is I essentially make digital training online for you, our customers, to learn more about AWS. And as a cloud technologist, I'm kind of a generalist. So, I don't focus on cloud financial management, but I do a little bit of everything. And that kind of gives me a well rounded perspective on AWS. And I used to be a technical trainer. So, I used to travel around the country and teach people in person, but now I
Oh,
do it
wow.
all online. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Okay, yeah. So today we're going to be talking about the course that Morgan's got to share with us today. And as always, any questions, comments you have, feel free to pop them in the chat. We'll be answering as we go. And also, if anybody watching us on YouTube afterwards, any questions you have, put them in the comments. And as a reminder, any links that we share today, we'll be showing them on screen. They'll be in the chat, but they'll also be in the description box below when we're on YouTube. Okay, so let's dive into it. So should we chat a bit about the about Amazon Learning? Morgan, do you want to give us a bit of background about how Amazon does it and how we educate customers?
Yeah. So like I said, I work for training and certification. And so the training portion of that is kind of what I'm working on mostly day to day. And so we have multiple ways that we train customers. And we have a goal to train, I think it's 29 million people by 2025. So we're
Oh,
really trying
wow.
to, yeah, it's a big goal. And we're working really hard to meet it. And we're also trying to train customers, for free when we can as well. So we put training out there in a lot of different places. I work for a team where we put training out on websites like Coursera, edX, Udemy, and we also put training on our internal platform called Skill Builder. So there's lots of different places you can take digital training, and that's kind of what I'm here to talk about today is some of the digital training offerings that we have.
Awesome. And so we're going to talk about this new cloud financial management education piece today, right?
Yep.
Do you want to dive in and give us, let's maybe talk about why did AWS decide to do this? Because obviously we have a Twitch show that's based around this subject, but why did AWS think this was important to share with customers?
Yeah, so let me just read the full title of the course here. So we have a course. Yeah, we change the titles sometimes, so I have to look to remember. It's
It's iterative.
yeah, exactly. We iterate. It's called Cloud Cost Management Optimization Strategies. And so what this course is about is essentially cloud financial management, and then some of the different tools that you can use to see and understand the costs that you incur in the cloud, but also some of the strategies that you can use to optimize for cost. So this was something that's a topic that's really important for our customers, because cloud financial management is pretty much totally different than financial management you have on premises.
Mhm.
So you have to be able to understand like what is different about it, and then also understanding that in the cloud you can iterate just like we do in our course names. you can
Yes.
you can iterate your solutions to drive down costs over time. So like understanding what about each service impacts cost and what drives cost in AWS is super important, and that's something we hear a lot from our customers, is they want to understand more about that topic. So that's why we chose to make this course. And this course is free. You can take it for free. by like auditing the course in Coursera or edX, or you can pay to get like basically a certificate of completion that you can post on LinkedIn, but you can take all the content for free.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, I asked Morgan that. I was just like, oh, is this free? Of course it is. Yeah. So first recommendation, guys, go and check the course out. I think Bill and me can speak to the fact that a lot of the customers we speak to just want to learn more about what they can do at AWS. So here is an awesome course, like ready for you to go.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in real quick. One thing I think that we kind of overlook on some of these paid trainings and free trainings with AWS is we're very integrated into the college community, universities, education outside of people already in the professional world. Anyone watching that, maybe you have a child in college or maybe you are a college student, check these out. This is a great way to get some good footing in the door and really kind of break into this career if this is something that you're looking for. So shout out to all the college students. We love you too.
Yeah, and just kind of to jump in on that really quick too. Something with cloud financial management, it's like it might not seem, like super duper exciting for somebody who's in a more technical role, but in reality, it's like one of the most valuable things that you can know about. Like imagine you can save your company millions of dollars, right? If you work for an enterprise that has things out there at scale and you can tweak a couple things and save millions of dollars, that makes you a very valuable employee, right? So that's part of the reason why I love this topic as well. It's just like you can make a really big impact by understanding it.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great point. And the fact that, as we say, it's a free course, if you are doing this and you go show initiative, do the training, and then come back to your managers and say, oh, I've done this training, it's from Amazon, and they've suggested doing this, like you can influence your business. And if you just want to learn some extra stuff about the cloud, it's really cool. So how do people get started? We've already kind of covered, they just have to, just to make it really easy, everyone just has to log in, do the training. That's just how you get started, right?
Yeah, so you can make an account on Coursera.org or edX.org. I think those are the two main places that we have this training right now. And so if you make an account on those websites, then you can go in and you can audit the courses, or you can sign up for a subscription. It kind of depends on what your goals are. But yeah, you can make an account, enroll, and then just get started. So it's totally on demand. It's asynchronous. All the videos have been pre-recorded, so you can join at any time, get started at any time, and take it at your own pace.
Awesome. And who's this course aimed at, apart from students that we've already covered?
Yeah, so this course is aimed at pretty much anybody who wants to understand cloud financial management better. So this includes non-technical people. So we do assume that you know something about the cloud, like the basics about like what the cloud is, what regions are, like what EC2 is, like the major big services. But otherwise, you don't need like a deep technical knowledge to understand this. So business people, maybe people working with the cloud but aren't building things. But then also it's useful for engineers or DevOps professionals, system admins, really anybody who's working with the cloud and wants to understand how to optimize for cost.
Yeah, I think what I picked up from that, Morgan, is like if you're a mover and shaker in your organization, you want to create some change, but you're not hands-on keyboard with code, you're not a cloud engineer, like this is still for you. This is a good way to really be able to influence from a position of subject matter expertise and really, kind of just make sure the ship's on track. So we encourage it for everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so we've done our sales pitch. This is like, come do the course. Do you want to share a bit about the structure of what actually happens in the course?
Sure. Can we actually share my screen really quickly then? And I will show you the outline of the course on Coursera. All right, so we're looking at my screen right here, and this is what the course looks like in Coursera. So this course is divided into 3 weeks, and each week, if I scroll down here, has some learning objectives, and then if you keep scrolling down, you can see like what the actual content is. So this course has videos, readings, quizzes, and then there are no hands-on exercises in this course in particular. However, if you go to like some of the readings, we do link out to some resources where you can take some cost optimization workshops in your own AWS account. So let me go back here. So this course, it is, like I said, divided into 3 weeks. The first week is much more conceptual. So like, what is cloud financial management in the cloud? Why is it important? What are the sorts of cost drivers in AWS? And then we have, so if I scroll down, you can kind of see that like 4 pillars of cloud financial management, cost awareness. We talk a lot about like why culture for cost awareness is important. So it's more conceptual. And then week 2 is more hands-on. So this is where we get into the tooling. So like what AWS services exist. So that's things like the AWS billing dashboard, cost explorer, things like budgets, stuff like that. So this is a bunch of demos in week 2. And then week 3, we say, okay, so that's great. Let's say you understand your costs, you can see them, you can explore them and attribute them. But what can you do to optimize for costs, like specifically? So for this one, we have an example that we bring up, like an example architecture, and then we just go through and we optimize different parts of that architecture. So this whole last week is all about the different services in the architecture and how you can optimize them.
Nice. I think, I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to learning how to do something, I find it so much easier with the video. I know AWS has a lot of documentation, a lot of FAQs, and a lot of websites that you can go and read stuff, but actually having a video, and then once you've done it once and you know it's there, you can kind of refer back to it. I love that concept of just being like, okay, we can just go watch it again, see what they did last time, and do it. So very cool.
What about these quizzes, Professor Morgan? What kind of tips you got? Are these like, multiple choice? Can we retake it once? I always think that's interesting. Coursera kind of does across the board on that.
Yeah, so they are all multiple choice, and they refer back to things that we either had in the video or the readings. So both parts of that are important, the videos and the readings. And then you can take it, I think, as many times as you want to pass, especially if you're doing it for the free way. But you can just keep taking it until you get it right. So it's a good way to practice for sure.
Nice.
Awesome.
No, I'm just thinking about how useful this is, the fact that there's going to be this training that people can go and do. I mean, I mentioned last week, I was at the FinOps Foundation meetup in the UK. Shout out FinOps Foundation. And one of the big conversations we were having was about hiring people into teams, and like, how do you get people kind of, we call it Amazon, like ramping up faster and things like that. So the fact that there is a free course that you can do to do this, I think is really worthwhile doing. And if people who are watching today, if there are, maybe you already know about FinOps, maybe you've been with us this whole journey, thank you if you have been and you've been watching this content, but if there are other people you want to educate and kind of formalize that training without having to spend loads of money on licenses or kind of book out an entire week to do it, this is going to be a great kind of thing to look at. So,
yeah, I think that's the really important part, right? Is like a lot of people don't want to take a whole week out of their day to attend like in-person training. So the digital options are really great. And we have a ton of training out there on not only Coursera, but we also have our internal platform Skill Builder, which I think we'll plug some links a little bit later. But there's a lot of digital training that you can take that's created by our SMEs that can help you get going and kind of ramp up. And the other thing I want to comment on is you mentioned before that this is like you enjoy using videos instead of documentation. Yeah. And so what I love about these courses is that like all of this information exists on the internet, right? Like you can find it in white papers, you can find it in documentation, YouTube videos. But what we're doing is we're taking all that information from across the internet and we're bringing it into one place. So I think that's another value of training, of digital trainings that we put out, is that we've gone and we've looked at the resources, we've read them, we've watched the videos, and we've then condensed it into what we think is like the most important stuff that you need. So this not only has the videos, but it also, like in the readings, we link out to other resources like documentation or workshops and things like that. So that way you don't have to go hunting on the internet to find the best resources. We kind of put it all together for you here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, kind of last call here on this, right, is like there's multiple clouds out there. That's no secret. AWS is one of them, and we love it. But like, let's say you're onboarding new folks to your organization, maybe they have a familiarity with like Azure or Google Cloud, right? This is a pretty good segue, I think, to make part of that onboarding program, get them familiar with our cloud, if that's primary usage in your environment. So I know on my team, now that this is available, I think the next few people that we hire, we'll probably have them just take this along with their Amazon onboarding program. So good stuff.
Yeah, we're getting some new people in my team. So that's going to be, I'm just going to suggest this and be like, guys, test it out. And then, just they can learn the fundamentals is going to be really useful. So in terms of the course, Morgan, you obviously mentioned that there is an architecture that you go through on the course to find optimizations. So we'd be remiss if it wasn't one of our episodes where we didn't actually go into how to actually optimize. So what we're going to do is we're going to share her screen again, and we're going to go through and give you a bit of a snippet of what the course is like, so you can see the kind of actions that you're going to take. But also, if you're new, like we were just saying, to cloud and you want to learn a little bit now, you can get a kind of cheeky little preview into what kind of optimization. So tell us about this architecture.
Yeah. So this is the architecture that we are using as like our sample for
Mhm.
the course. And so there's multiple different things going on in here, right? We have EC2 instances, EBS volumes, RDS for database, S3, and then we're also connecting to an on-premises data center. So from my first glance, right, because I know the tips and tricks, right? I'm looking at this like, wow, there's so many ways I can optimize this. So we built this purposefully to need lots of optimization. So that's
Right.
what we do in the course is we go through each one. So just like as an example for EC2, there's let's see here. Maybe I can grab a different color.
Also, side note, we love this tool, and so we hopefully want to get one.
Right. It's for some reason it wants to only do white, but that's all right for now. Okay. So we have EC2 instances, and notice how we have like the T3 large called out. So one of the ways that you can optimize EC2 is by right sizing your instances. So it used to be on premises, you would kind of buy like the largest server that you could within your
Mhm.
budget because you're going to be stuck with it for a while. Whereas like in the cloud, it's pretty easy to change the size. All you really have to do is reboot. So one of the main ways that you can save money for EC2 is just by using smaller instances. So we call out T3 large here. One of the things we
Mhm.
talk about in the course is like how can you measure what your application actually needs, and then right size it from there. So pick an instance size that fits the application. Don't over provision where you don't need it.
Nice. Biddle, any additional comments on that?
I mean, yeah, this is like a smorgasbord of what could be like within RDS, like how are we scaling
Oh,
our
wait, don't
storage?
jump ahead.
Oh, okay.
I
I
think
don't know.
we should.
Yeah.
No, don't spoil. I think we should do this. This is a fun exercise. I feel like we could do this with other things. I've just like
Yeah.
taken inspiration. What would you do next with you were looking at your infrastructure and you were like, T3 large too big. What would be your next step?
So the next thing is like auto scaling, not on this diagram. We do talk about it in the course though, is that you want to take advantage of elasticity, scale in and out with EC2. So that's another one. Something else is that you can see we have EBS volumes attached to the EC2 instances. So EC2 instances have families and sizes, right? So you have your instance type and your instance size. EBS volumes have a similar concept. So you don't just want to like pick an EBS volume at random. You want to understand your application. Like, how are you reading and writing to this volume? At what frequency? How much data? And then you can choose your EBS volume to fit that use case. So you might be able to get away with using like cold HDD instead of using, like provisioned IOPS, right? Like the most expensive and the least expensive I'm comparing here. So you want to understand the different EBS volume types and their use cases, and then you can select the right one for your use case. So we talk about that as well in the course.
Nice. Do you cover about different about the bonuses of, I assume you do, about GP3? I'm assuming the savings.
I think we do. Yeah, we'll have to take a look here in the notes, but I'm pretty sure we do.
Yeah, so a reminder, we did a whole episode on EBS as well, so feel free to check that out alongside this. No, okay, cool. So we're going to resize our instance if it's too big, and we're going to look at using the correct thing. I think that's a good call out, Morgan, just to like, sorry to jump in again. I don't know about you, Biddle. Sometimes I think when customers, especially this concept of moving from on-prem just to the cloud, they'll just kind of go with like, okay, we'll just choose that one. That's like the default one. And actually diving in and asking that question, what are we using the service for? And choosing the right one is such a powerful concept that if you're imparting that wisdom onto other people, it's just brilliant.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like I think a lot of times customers their first inclination is to recreate what they had on premises in the cloud.
Yeah.
And so that's also something we're advising against, right? It's like it's much more flexible in the cloud. The rules are different. The way you incur costs is different. You can optimize a lot further in the cloud easier. So yeah, that's something else. Looking at this diagram though, another thing that I want to call out, and this one's a little bit different, is Amazon S3. And so with this diagram, you can see we have our EC2 instances are talking to S3 through the internet gateway. And so one of the main cost drivers with AWS is outbound data transfer. So with this diagram, I'm going through the internet gateway, which essentially means I'm going over the internet. I'm going to incur outbound data transfer. So what you can do instead is you can use a VPC endpoint. And we talk about that in the course. Again, my pen is white here. I wish I could change the color. But you can provision or attach a VPC endpoint, and then that will force that traffic to go over the AWS backbone, and you can reduce that data transfer cost. So like that's another one that's a little bit more obscure, I guess. That's a really good way to save on AWS.
No, that's really good. I like that one. I think maybe we should do to be fair, just thinking out of for the show, we haven't done much networking, Bill. We should, I know you like a bit of data transfer. We did do an episode, and I will put the banner up. Check us out on YouTube if you're watching us live today at Key Savers Optimization. But we did one about AZ Affinity, which was a conversation around if you had to have instances in different sections. So in this example, I was trying to draw on the screen then and realized that I couldn't, that they're connected across two different AZs. And so it's asking that question, do you need them to be connected? But yeah, continue. What else you got?
All right, I got my pen going too. So
there we go.
All right. So another thing that we like to talk about is this connection between the on-premises data center and AWS. You have multiple ways to connect. You can go over the open internet, probably not what you want. You can create VPN connections, or you can use direct connect. So we talk about like what is the best choice, and really the answer is it depends, which is also the answer for like most things, right? It's like, it depends. But yeah, so for this one, it would depend on the volume of traffic, the type of compliance needs that you have, and the amount of latency that you can tolerate. So then that will determine what types of solutions you can build here, or what you should build and optimize for cost as well. And then I think one last one here I want to call out is this RDS instance down here. This is a little bit more of like a hidden cost. So with RDS, you can see we have one RDS instance here. So this RDS instance lives in an availability zone. An instance is like just essentially one database instance. There's no like redundant copy behind the scene of that instance. So what happens if this instance goes down? Well, that would be bad, right?
Yes.
That would probably be bad. You're going to lose your data on that instance. It's going to take time for that to come back up. So like, how much time can you tolerate between outages? That's another thing to consider. So what we recommend doing is to set up another database instance over here and then have like a multi-AZ deployment for RDS. And so what this allows you to do is like, yes, it costs more money on your bill every month, right? Because you have two instances instead of one. So that's going to cost more money in that way. However, if this instance goes down, traffic will automatically fail over to this other instance. So you are not going to be incurring the cost of losing your data, having unhappy customers. Maybe you're losing sales during that time. Or if that data is not recoverable, that can be extremely expensive to try to recover these. So it costs more in like general, maybe like I said, sales loss, data lost, but then also just operations wise, trying to fix a broken instance when you only have one, you're going to be scrambling to get another one up in its place. Whereas with multi-AZ, all those operations things are kind of taken care of for you. The failovers handled for you. So that's another thing that we talk about with this course.
Yeah. And maybe to flip that around as well, when you have that and you don't need it. So if somebody, I know this isn't on the diagram, so I'm kind of going off topic, where I think I've seen this before in things like development accounts, people having multi-AZ, and it's just fake data, or it's data that you don't care about. So you don't necessarily need to pay for it both ways. So just a caveat with that. But no, that's a clever. I like that. Thinking about the bigger picture, time is money kind of concepts. I know Bill wants to jump in. Oh, sorry, go.
I'll go. Oh, I was just going to say with the developer accounts things, we talk about that as well in the course of like when to turn off resources as well.
Excellent. Love it. Yeah, I know that Bill wants to jump in and give his feedback.
I'm holding back because I don't want to take away the thunder from this course. But I mean, I just got to say there's a few things here for our audience that tunes in. Let's stick to EBS real quick. That's got to get on them CloudWatch metrics, bro. Like seriously, look at those sum volume write bytes on that thing. Is it writing to the storage layer or not? That's a good indicator if you're over provisioned. Before you start looking at GP3 migrations from GP2 or HDD backed options, like little pro tip there. Sum volume write bytes, one of my favorite metrics in CloudWatch for EBS. And then just kind of another little hidden trick here. It might not apply to you, maybe it does, but like S3. We've been finding some pretty good analysis lately where, customers are having very small objects in S3 that are like text rich. Maybe it's like a password chain, something that isn't not like a picture object or a media object, really small. That can go into a DynamoDB table. And if you're looking at 4 kilobytes or less as a text rich object, that's going to cost you about 60% less in Dynamo than S3. So when you talk about architectures, like there's a lot of ways you can slice this, as Morgan said, kind of like it depends. But that's just a few takeaways I have here looking at this, things to consider.
Nice. I think the only ones that are left to add are going to be try Graviton instead of T3. That's always throwing out the Graviton 20% different. And on the RDS, what are you using it for? Can you especially if it's RDS and we're managing it, take advantage of the Graviton percentage discount. And then, I mean, if I see it's so basic, if I see S3, I'm thinking like, what data is going in there? Can it be, we move it into different tiers? Can we use intelligent tiering and things like that?
Exactly. We have the tiers for S3. And then the other thing that we haven't talked about is for EC2 and RDS, it's like, can you use savings plans? Like how often are you provisioning these? Are these things that are consistent over time? Or is it just kind of like something that you turn on once and then run a job and then it's off? So like what's your application? And can you take advantage of savings plans or different types of pricing models besides on demand?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is just showcasing how many different things you can do. This has been a really fun exercise. I would love to maybe have you back on, Morgan, and get like a even more complicated diagram up, putting up for more work here, and like diving on just for fun to explore more areas.
Yeah, I would love that. It's you can really get obviously much more complicated than this. And then this is also like using your standard EC2 RDS type of deployment. Whereas like, what if we're serverless, right? Like what about Lambda and API gateway? Like how can you optimize those? Because I think sometimes we think that like these serverless services are they're fully optimized. You don't have to just set it and forget it. You don't have to worry about it. But there are ways that you can optimize for those as well. So yeah, I would love to dive into some of these discussions a little further in the future.
Yeah, that'd be great. And also the stuff that's not in this architecture, this is a bee in my bonnet I often have, and it's those hidden costs. So this is when I was a developer, this is an architecture that we would draw, and then like stuff like this, very basic, but where's things like CloudTrail, CloudWatch, like other monitoring services that you're playing guard duty, all the other bits and bobs that you need to be utilizing to run your applications, but do you think about the cost? So that's more of a pricing conversation.
Yeah, exactly. I just wrote logs, metrics, those cost money, right? So you have to pay attention to those things.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Okay, so we've got 3 minutes left. This has been super fun, so definitely want to show on this again. Is there anything you wanted to highlight in the last couple of minutes, Morgan? Things to share, other courses that you want to make people aware of?
Yeah. So if you go to Coursera, you can explore the different courses that we have to offer for AWS. And we have a bunch of different ones ranging from development to data analytics to DevOps. There's specializations, so like series of courses that give you a little bit of a learning path there. But we also have our internal platform, Skill Builder. And so Skill Builder can take you a little bit on a deeper dive for some of these specific topics. So the courses on Coursera, we tend to do broader topics, and we are at like the 100 to 200 level for those. And so those are a great place to get started. But then if you're looking for like you had said before, EBS volumes that are, really specific optimizations, we have courses on Skill Builder where you can dive into those. So I would really recommend taking a look at both of those places, Coursera and Skill Builder, to learn more about AWS and cost optimization.
Brilliant. And I realized I've just chucked a block of text at the chat, which is very unhelpful. So please check out the YouTube channel because I will split those up and make them all individually hyperlinked. Awesome. Okay, so we're at time. Thank you so much for joining us, Morgan. Next week, we're going to be looking at cost categories and how to utilize those in the billing console. And that will be our last one of the season. So we'll be taking a month hiatus after that. So see you guys next week and enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.